Hey, y'all, welcome to the Dickie and Donny Show presented by Business on Purpose. My name's Dickie here with my co-host Donny, and we are here with an epic guest this afternoon. Keith, how are you?
I'm very good. How are you guys?
We're great. Keith is an epic guest. Man, he really is. Keith, I'm going to let you introduce yourself. I do want you to tell the story of how you took out the bear while camping. So, can you introduce yourself and then share that story with us?
First of all, I am Keith Hoeing with Erwin Forrest Builders. I never took a bear out camping, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, I thought you had that story you told in front of your wife that you like when you went camping and like the bear rolled up on you and your kids and you took it out.
I didn't know. What are you talking? You're
You
walking
must
me
have
into
been
I
something.
lying.
knew this was
No,
going to be an
Yeah.
epic
no,
podcast.
Yeah, this is
no.
great. This is great. All right, Keith. By the way, Keith is one. I get the chance to spend a lot of time with Keith, and I love it. Keith is out of the Lehigh Valley, Allentown, Pennsylvania area with Erwin Forrest Builders. Keith, real quick before we throw you into our usual gauntlet of new people on the podcast, can you give us a general scope? Like, what is Erwin Forrest? What do y'all do in the Lehigh Valley?
Erwin Forrest Builders basically is your, upper end, uh, new home remodeling, renovation, go to. We started out just building new homes and then have evolved into full renovation additions, everything under the sun. So if you need it constructed, we can do it.
I love it. I love it. Well, Keith, we're going to ask you a series of 3 questions. So, Dickie, you may start us off.
Beatles or Stones?
Stones.
That threw me off a little. I'm not going to
Do
lie.
you know who the Beatles are, Brandon? Do you know who the Rolling Stones are?
First of all, it's Donnie. Second of all, that was rude. I did grow up. There were 2 CDs in my dad's car: Meatloaf and The Best of Billy Joel. So
Oh,
those were I can tell you by number of track, like what song it was on the CD. I can tell you either
Yeah.
of those.
Yeah.
you know what song is becoming a TikTok trend lately is Vienna by Billy Joel. Great song.
Great. So he argues it's his favorite song he ever wrote, I believe,
It does he?
which is a big deal. Yeah. So I used to fall asleep to
So,
scenes from an Italian restaurant every night. So
right.
it's more my
I
favorite.
I have to jump in here because I kind of drag when somebody brings up Billy Joel because of the song Allentown, which makes us look like degenerate coal mining losers, right? So, you know what I mean? Like every time somebody says Allentown, within 30 seconds, somebody's bringing up, oh yeah, that Billy Joel song. Like, yeah, that's it, right?
Is
Spend our
that written
weekends
about
at
your Allentown?
yes, spend our weekends at the Jersey Shore. Yes,
Oh, wow.
Steel Town. You know,
Are you
everybody
guys
thinks
ZZ Top fans? Speaking of your old rock?
I'm gonna say no. I'm not.
No. His song
No,
LaGrange, you know the one LaGrange?
I do. Boom, boom,
I
boom.
lived
Yeah.
in that LaGrange, so I feel about that. But that was written about the best little whorehouse in Texas. So I don't know if I'd rather be a degenerate coal miner or
Or
the
each have
other.
their
One of
each
them's
Which
an honest living.
what? Yeah, I will let you choose which one. Okay, Dickie, that was a good question. Keith, ideal vacation.
um. I mean, mine is a beach with nobody around. Beach. Let's say I will elaborate. Ocean front with isolation. How about that?
There's not a lot of those small beach towns anymore. Where do you go to find that?
So yeah, we go to the Outer Banks,
Okay.
and we stay in a particular subdivision that we do get beachfront, but there are people near us, but not. It's
Where
not
do you go in
like
the
the.
Outer Banks?
We go up to Corolla.
My parents live in Corolla.
Come on, yeah, we
Dead
go.
serious.
Look
We
at
have pretty
this.
much over the last 5 or 6 years, we've always found a house in Pine Island,
Pine
right?
Island's great. Yeah, they got a lot of good houses.
Because it's good walking, safe walking for family. My
Mhm.
mother-in-law usually goes with us, and then but we get a nice just did this August. We get a nice beachfront house, and yes, there's people near us, but they're not on top of us. And
Killer.
I always tell Brandon my ultimate vacation is probably gauged by this. When I get back in the car on Sunday to drive home, I kind of have to refresh my mind. Like this is how I drive. I got to do this. I got to turn the ignition on because I don't drive all week. We just chill.
It's awesome up there. And off
It is.
season's killer. We love going in like Thanksgiving
Yeah,
and
I haven't
just
been able to do that. Haven't been able to do
super
that.
low key. There's nobody there. The grocery stores are like
Yeah.
not even stocked, barely.
I would love to experience that. I haven't done that. But
Do a November trip, September, October, November, play some golf, do some fishing. It is.
I'm just gonna sit on the beach. I don't care how cold it is. I like the ocean is just it's just
I've never
grounding.
been to the Outer Banks.
Well,
I've never been invited. So this is
Donnie,
interesting.
here we go.
You got an invite anytime you want to go. We got
Don't
5
say it if you
bedrooms.
don't mean it. I'll just my family and I got a crew
I mean
with
it
me.
100%.
Do
All
it.
right, great. We'll go next week.
Oh,
I can't go next week. I'll be in Texas, but
yeah, which
the
is
week
Tyler,
after
Texas.
I'll be in Tyler, Texas. That's right.
I've been married 8 years now. Big anniversary a couple weeks ago. 8 years now. And we have had 11 dwellings, my wife and I, in 8 years. Like places where if someone was like, hey, where do I mail this to? I've had 11 different addresses. Number one was Tyler, Texas. So enjoy your time out there.
You know, there's
There
a
you go.
Torchy's right by the office where I'm working out of.
Dude, I know the Torchies. I would go there 3 or 4 times. I was about to say you should go to Torchies because that's one of the sponsors I want for our show.
Yeah.
Keith, have you ever had a Torchies tacos?
No.
Okay.
I don't know if I've been to Texas, to be honest with you.
What?
Yeah, I don't think I've been to Texas.
East Coast people, I don't know geography past Tennessee. I'm like, I don't know. It's Midwest somewhere.
Listen, I've been
Texas,
traveling more.
Midwest.
I've been traveling a little bit more, but I don't think I have been to, actually I lied. I went to San Antonio
Okay.
for a NCAA tournament game or whatever. But that's
right.
about it.
You ever been to Indiana, Keith? Anything in Indianapolis that you're a fan of?
Yes. I have been to Indianapolis, and I like to attend the 500, Indy 500. Yes.
So good.
It
so
is.
good. Do you have a favorite
My
driver?
dad, not specifically, no.
Okay.
I would say no. We're just the whole thrill. I mean, it is a spectacle like no other.
Totally.
You mentioned your dad. If you haven't put together, his name is Keith Hoeing, and he owns Erwin Forrest Builders, which on my end was confusing up front. Keith, tell us a little bit about your name. Why Erwin Forrest?
Well, Erwin is my middle name. It was my dad's name. It was my dad's father's name. And my mom's father's name is Forrest. So one night over dinner, without getting into the detailed story, I had to create a name for a business so I could get paid like a subcontractor. And my wife were just sharing dinner. I was like, I want to do something family. And it just came out, Erwin Forrest. Never thought it would see the light of day. But the really fun fact is that I used to hate that name, Erwin. Like people made fun of me growing up. They used to call me Erwie. They would Erwin drove me nuts. Yeah, you used to call me Erwie. I see that light bulb.
What? I didn't say anything.
I just saw that light bulb, right? But anyhow, so it's kind of funny. But that's how it came about.
Love it.
Is that part of your core values? Have you woven that kind of family connection into the way you guys do business?
I've never connected the two, but we are very heavy on family. Like we are, I've always told people that one of my big things I'm proud of is we have a lot of really good moms and dads that work for us, like dedicated moms and dads. And we still, work's important, but family is first, so that if you got to leave a little early to go hit your kitchen, your kindergarten graduation, or, kids had a bad day, you want to get them some ice cream on the way home. Like we're all for that. If you're taking care of family, you're going to take care of family when you're at work.
That's great.
Treat people with respect.
What is he mentioned core values, Keith? What's y'all's mission? What gets Erwin Forrest out of bed in the morning?
We are passionate about improving your life.
You do a really good job of that too, from what I've seen. Never improved my life in the sense of a build, but just spending time with you, and I know we get to coach with your leadership team. I mean, they do improve my life even in that. You hire really good people, which is actually, Keith, what we wanted to talk a little bit about today. So you mentioned sitting at a dining room table, choosing a name to be just have something thrown out there to be paid as a subcontractor. Walk us through. We love talking about stories. We talk to a lot of small business owners that are probably where you were when you were 22, 23, right? And now I don't want to say you're on the other end of it, but you've worked through, you've evolved in a lot of different ways. So, man, walk us through, if you would be so kind of your evolution as a business owner from that dining room table to now.
Well, I think I have to go back a little bit before the dining room table. When I was 26, married my high school sweetheart, we had our first kid. And I had kind of bounced around. I didn't do college well. And my first job, I was in trucking for a little bit. And then I went to work in commercial insurance because my father-in-law did it. And he made a lot of money. I'm like, well, let's do that. Right. And then, because I just figured money was a thing. And then I remember distinctly holding my first kid and telling my wife, I really don't like my job. Like, I hate what I'm doing. And through evolution of discussions, I'd like to go back into, home building. When my mom told me that she wanted me to get a skills aptitude test. So I went on a college campus when I was 26 and did an aptitude test. And it was all about get out of the office. Don't go to the same place every day. Use your hands, all that fun stuff. So I went back into building. I worked for a builder when I was a kid. I worked for him during the summers of college, and decided to leap back into it. And so that, I worked for a big builder, and then I worked for a small builder, and then I just eventually worked my way out to be on my own. And then, for the first 5 years, I worked by myself, and then hired, the first guy. And then, I hate to say it sounds easy, but now we have 40 employees. But I think we've grown organically, but I've grown it by finding the right people. Like, if I find the right people that are passionate about improving lives, we'll keep growing. Right. But you have to have that sense of responsibility that gets you out of bed in the morning. If you're in tune with that, then, we can find a way for you to come work with us.
What an interesting mission that, typically builders have missions that are very like physical, creating spaces, designing, creating, building, but you've really captured the value of what people are looking for, the feeling and the experience of building a home gets me to a place that I want my life to be this way. How did you come to that? Or how did that?
I don't, and it's great because I don't think we take it lightly. We are given the opportunity to make somebody's life better. Like, and that's not something, you're not going to make donuts in the morning. You know what I mean? Like, and I think it was probably from our first building, and I'll still remember a young couple when I didn't have any employees, and when we delivered the house, she cried, right? And she wasn't crying because she was, the house was a wreck. She was crying because she was so happy, and then they started their family, and their family were going to, and we went back and we finished their basement years later. But like, people give us that responsibility or the opportunity that, after we renovate a first floor and they come down on a Saturday morning, they drink a cup of coffee and they're just like, I love my kitchen. I love, puts you in a good mood. Like, we have that ability to change people's lives. And you can't take that lightly. Right. And it could be a small addition onto a house. It could be a multi-million-dollar house, but we're making people's lives different, and it should be in a positive way. And it should be a hell of an experience.
There's a quote by Churchill. He says, "We shape our buildings, thereafter they shape us."
Very good.
And I use that in architecture and with builders because I want them to remember there's something beyond sticks and bricks, that what they're doing is really more than a physical experience. So
yeah,
I love the way you've captured that for your families.
Well, I will give my business coach credit too, because we didn't realize till after we started, reusing this mission statement, but it's not just for our customers. It's everybody that works here. Like, if you are passionate about improving lives, it's not just our customers. It's looking out for your coworker. It's, going to help him, move out of his basement because he got a flood, or it's all that stuff. But if that is one of your core values, that you're going to hold the door open for somebody because they can't do it because they're going to drop their eggs, like, that's the type of people we want to work here. And it just creates an atmosphere. Like, it's intangible, but it gives us a lot of business.
So I guess that's how you filter your people pretty well. If you've hired 40 people, either they want to improve lives, there's a progressive thought to them, or they're just not a good fit for you guys.
Yeah, correct. We have failed, but generally, no, we have a good amount of people here that are just, I feel like, are good people. They're just responsible, and they say please and thank you. They hold the door open. They're looking to make people happy.
That's so good. And it's not where I thought this was going to go, but I guess kind of in a way, we talk about that a lot with the hiring process, right? We typically at BOP will flip the hiring process on its head. A standard hiring process, I go into a job. Hey, here's your job role. Here's compensation. Does that interest you? If so, let us tell you about who we are. And at that point, what we typically find for our listeners is that if that number's correct, that person will say yes because they're like, yeah, of course. No, this is, yeah, I'd love to hear more about you. Oh, I believe in that too. I believe in improving people's lives. And then 6 months down, the spirit of Satan enters them because that number is harder to do it on than they thought they would, or the job role isn't what they thought it was. They never really cared about who you were. We flip that on its head. And something, and I know Keith is in the process of hiring right now. We've been walking through this a good bit of, hey, here's who we are. Unashamedly, this is who we are. Is that something you can get behind? And if the answer is yes, okay, well, then we'll happily share the details of the job with you. We'd love to share what we could pay you for this. But if that first is a no, and you've done a really good job with that, I know you got one today, you got another one tomorrow, and you guys have had good people come across your desk. It just wasn't the right fit.
Right.
And,
No,
and you mentioned you haven't done it perfectly, so you've been burned in the past and you remember it. So
we've had to make tough decisions, but we do get a lot of people here that we don't have to talk much about what we do because they already know. They've heard it. Their friend works here, or things like that. That we treat people well, or they've had an experience with us. Things like that.
I love it, Keith. And I know this. I'm going to try to ask this in a way that would, like, I don't know it. What importance would you place on, I don't even know how to ask this. You've surrounded yourself with people that you would classify as being better than you. Walk me through that, because your evolution from being at the dining room table and before to now hiring 40 people, how integral was it to having those people around you in this whole thing? Kind of walk us through how you see that.
When I was first building on my own, and then I hired a couple people, I never thought I would find people that would treat customers like I would treat customers, or be able to read the customer, be able to, get their dreams into a buildable reality. And then you start surrounding yourself with the people that have that same passion. And now, I've said it before, we're doing projects, we're building houses, we're doing renovation projects that far exceed what I used to do on my own. Because you're giving them, first of all, the responsibility, you're giving them the freedom, you're giving them, the opportunity, right, to do this, and they can. And, it used to be, well, I think one of the amazing moments here is when I walk into our office and there's my team meeting with a client that I didn't even know was happening, and they are leading through, like, here's what your house is going to look like. Do you like it? Let's talk about this. Let's talk about that. Why is that door there? And I had nothing to do with it. And they're getting through so much more detail and direction and just dedicated to that level, right? That is something I never did. And I think it's a lot about trust. And we're going to make some mistakes. We're going to miss something, but it's important that they know that I still have their back regardless, and we learn from it and we move on, right? Let's not make the same mistake 3 times, but the people given the opportunity to improve our client's life, if you give that to them specifically, our people take it very seriously, right? So they'll roll with it. They want that chance.
It's such a testament to your leadership too. And Keith, I know one of your favorite movies, and I've used this line on you before.
It better not be Remember the Titans.
Yeah, it's going to be.
It is. Sean's never seen it. Dickie's never seen the movie.
I have seen it. I just don't remember
sacrilege.
it.
Oh,
which is even worse, to have seen it and not
my
remember
gosh.
it. I'll digress. Attitude reflects leadership, Captain. Like, that's your leadership is reflecting in the attitude of your employees, and the 4 that I get to spend regular time with, like, absolutely, like, you have given them ownership over their work, not in the equity sense, but you've given them ownership over their work, and they own it, and it's their work, and it would be their fault in their mind if it didn't get done. Not, well, ultimately it's all Keith's fault. No, it's theirs. It's theirs to do. You've done a really good job managing that and showing them what that looks like. So, Dickie, I can't believe that's the movie.
I have seen it.
But you don't remember it.
I remember it vaguely.
Oh,
you had 12 brothers and sisters.
That's very good. That's a good quote. 3. How many did he said? He said
8. 8. Yeah, 8 sounds better.
There's a lot of good parts.
Dickie's loss.
So I've got improving your life is the central purpose of why you exist. Finding the right people, finding people better than you, people that exceed your ability, telling them you trust them, I got your back, and then giving ownership of the work. Does that capture kind of the spirit of how to bring people in and how to really send people out to do work for you?
I mean, in a weird way of captivating those, yeah, for sure.
Okay.
I think
Yeah.
one of the hardest things.
I always want to say the phrase "follow your heart," right? You gotta, I'm not the dreamy, motivation speech that you can do anything you want to do. You know what I mean? But if you don't have a little bit of, passion to get you out of bed in the morning, right? Like I wasn't following my heart, and took the birth of a first kid, like for me to see, like, okay, realign, right? But if you do that, and I know there's a phrase, if you do something you love, you don't work a day in your life, right? But if you surround yourself by people that like that have that same feeling, and I tell people in an interview after 30 days, if this isn't getting you out of bed in the morning, let's talk. Like, move on. Life's too short. So I think having that to be able to recognize what you really like to do makes it even better to come to work.
I've always heard hire people with batteries included. And I thought that's kind of a descriptive way of saying if
I've
you're
never
not
heard of it.
coming
Yeah.
in hungry, and it's not that you got to be totally, commission based, but
Yeah.
just having
Yeah.
some kind of gumption and like
Yeah.
direction in your life, like probably don't hire people that are just here to, punch the clock.
Yeah. Yeah. Agree. And I mean, we're even getting some young talent that I'm so happy and proud to have that are happy to work with their hands, and they know it, and they love being a carpenter. I mean, and he's particular person I'm thinking is not even 20 years old and just is excited about it. I mean, that makes me happy.
Just don't get them from Penn State, right? You don't have any good talent from Penn State, do you?
Move on. Move on.
Keith, did you know I was a carpenter for years? I was a builder and then I was a carpenter. So I lived in Seattle and worked with a guy named Marty. And Marty was 49. He had a giant handlebar mustache. He was the burliest guy. He had one of the really nice Filson jackets. We worked in the rain, and Marty could do anything. I mean, he could frame, or he could trim out a mahogany office to a 128. He told me it was 128th of an inch. That's what he told me. I don't know if that's true, but he could drive a backhoe. He taught me. I can't tell you how much he taught me in my life about carpentry, working with a guy like that. And I'm so thankful for those years working with him.
Well, and what you learn from them too is that, money has been a motivator for me, just because, we have 4 kids, like, you got to make money. Our carpenters, when you look at what they do and they're so proud of what they do, like, they need to cover expenses, but they don't do their work so they can get an extra $2 an hour because they did a great job. If our homeowner comes in there and they're like literally stopped in their tracks thinking like, you guys just did that today, I mean, they smile ear to ear. That's their motivation. They want to create really cool stuff with their hands, and they get a lot of satisfaction out of that. And we're very lucky to have some of those talented carpenters, I think, in the Lehigh Valley work for us. And we just push their envelope on what they can do, and they love to do it.
Are most of those guys Amish that you hire, or are they... is that the whole community?
We have Amish. We do have Amish crews that come frame for us and do certain things, but not on our payroll. No.
Okay.
There's not a lot of Amish that live in the Lehigh Valley.
Okay. Right on. What would you say?
I don't know why that question shocked me, Dickie. I was on the wrong question. Just the Amish. I've worked with Keith now 2 years. Never once have I thought about the Amish community, which shows a lack of empathy on my part, truly. So thanks for calling me out publicly.
They're really, really hard workers, man. They are unbelievable.
Keith, what would you say, talk about challenges? I always like to know where people struggle, but then where they got through it. Like in the last 10 years, what would you say has been, like, business wise, the biggest challenge for you? And then how did you get through it, or how did you push through it?
There's a lot of challenges over the last 10 years, between COVID, we've struggled making money because we weren't paying attention to the details. But I think a struggle that comes up right now, that's an internal struggle, is having the strength to say no. Right. I don't think I can say one of our, main unspokens here are no jerks. Right. I don't know if I can say the other word.
You can't say it. So thanks for leading us along just to say it.
I had a lumber company client. They had no hay-hole policy, and that was he's up in upstate New York, and he was a Marine, or he was special for, I forget what he was, but he's like, we don't do that.
Yeah.
That's not us.
Right. In the days when it was just me, if I hire people, I know they're going to make money, right? That there's potential to make money. Then I'm torturing myself to try to get that financial impact. But if I make a bad choice now, like if I do it for the money and maybe like those people don't have the same core values that we have, right? Then I'm creating a headache for all my really great people, right? And it's hard to do that because you got payroll, you got a lot of money that you got to make, and you have to have the courage to say no is something that I've always struggled with, just because you got to, I got to feed the machine, and you're always, it's a person, or you're going to hurt feelings, or there's going to be, whatever, there's repercussions from saying no. But if you say yes, it could really hurt your company.
I mean, that was an incredible line. I'm torturing myself for financial impact.
Yeah.
I mean, right. I think that's what a lot of business owners I see do. They're like, well, bottom line, top line revenue, whatever it is, I got to make this number. I got to hit these targets. Yeah. And whoever's got to do it. But you're saying it's not worth it because the other 40 people have to deal with the person that wasn't a good fit. Wow.
Yeah.
And I love that.
And it usually never works out either. Like, what I mean? Like the money's not there when you're dealing with, that type of person. So, we are doing a more dedicated job of trying to weed out the people that, that don't, we share our core values. We want people to have the same ones we do. And we're saying no earlier and more often. Now we're lucky that I still have income coming in, but I still really believe that there's a lot of good people out there that maybe we have to scale down what we do or change what we do, but we'd much rather work. We want to work with people that want to work with us because of the experience and because of, working with good people rather than, getting on the lowest of 5 bids.
It's so good. Keith, this is where I have a comment, then I have one question. This is where we'll end it. And then we'll plug businessonpurpose.com. If you have any questions, you can go to a contact form. You can reach out to Dickie or I there at your leisure. Keith, one thing I will say, and this is just to give you the clout that you don't need, is like Erwin Forrest has done such a good job of not only implementing BOP, but making it look attractive, not in a weird way, but like people want to be surrounded by you. I have 4, and we have a 5th client in the Pennsylvania Lehigh Valley region because of Erwin Forrest. And it's because of people being like, hey, what's different about you? And then we got one of those people. And then that person was the question of like, hey, what's different about y'all? Well, we're working with BOP. And so just on behalf of BOP, great work. Keep it up. I know you want me to keep your foot to the fire there, but y'all are killing it. Keith, here's the last question. You've shared a lot. I know you don't think you have a ton of wisdom. It's not true. If I'm out there listening and I have a specific guy in mind who's 34 years old, who is, I think, in a spot where you were when you were 26, started his own thing, now has some kids, what's the one, I think, has the aspirations to become what you've built, right? Where they're doing big custom work, semi-custom, all this different stuff. The question I'm asking, one thing to him, knowing you've been there before, you held your daughter and you were like, man, I'm tired of doing it like this. I got to do this instead. What's the one piece of advice for a young builder? I love this question. I love the answers we get.
How can you afford not to, right? Like that's my life. It's probably not I'm trying to think the best way to articulate my thought is just, you're just going to be constantly questioning yourselves if you just don't go for it. Right. And if you go for it and future clients see the passion that you have for it, it's going to evolve. Do you have to have patience? Do you have to make some really hard decisions, right? Do you have to have, money's challenging. It always is, right? But, I also feed a lot from my kids. I learn a lot from my kids. I'm motivated by my kids. And, if you have a strong base at home that you really feel like, that we're so solid there. You can go out and attack anything, right? You can't, I'm not going to tell you can go become an astronaut, but if you're passionate about building houses or passionate about, being a carpenter, like it will happen. Surround yourself by the right people, ask the right questions, and that person could call me. I'll walk you through it. There's so many people that want to see you succeed rather than fail.
And it sounds like your home life reflects your work life, where you're like, hey,
I feel like it.
I want to improve the life of my family too, which is just a ton of
integrity.
Yeah.
I learn a lot from my family too. But when you have that solid base, I think it's one of those, a given that you often probably take for granted, right? But if you have that set at home and your wife's like, I got this, and your kids are, proud of what their dad does, right? But also, want to have a part of it or want to see it and love to talk about it. But the fact that you just come home and have a family dinner and not talk about work, right? We don't do that, but like it gives you the break you need to be able to come back the next day refreshed.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
TikTok's been telling me that lately. The ultimate flex is a happy wife, somebody who loves being with you, who fills you up more than the houses and the cars and the accoutrements that we think. It's like the stability of the home life is
right.
TikTok's got some wisdom, Donnie. That's what I'm saying.
Dickie, I'm torn, Dickie, and this is why I'm torn on this, is that I think I need to do everything in my waking living ability to get you off of TikTok, but the videos you send me they add value to my life. So I'm
try
torn.
to improve your life.
I know you do, and you do it just like Keith does, all his people. Like you,
well,
but you have the hours of filtering, Dickie, that I don't have. I just get the gold. So I want to get TikTok away from you. However, I'm so grateful for the product I get to receive through your addiction.
Try to send the good stuff. Keith, I will tell you, we use your Anchor as an example. A bunch of my clients and had like multiple, large production builders, custom builders that say, wow, that's what it's supposed to look like. So to the team,
to bring this full circle, I really had nothing to do with that Anchor. You know what I mean? That was a challenge brought up by the business coach, and our management team ran with it. And, it's awesome. And I appreciate that, but wouldn't have got done if you left it up to me.
Killer.
Yeah.
I love
it. It is killer.
Well, Keith, thank you for joining us. This was great. Me and Keith were coaching right before this. And I was like, hey, you want to do this? And he said, I want nothing more. And here we are. So Keith, I am so grateful for you just as a friend and to get to work with you. I'll see you tomorrow night in the booming metropolis that is Wausau, Wisconsin.
Yes. So, I won't be there till Wednesday, but that's fair. I will see you this week. And,
I'm gonna FaceTime you tomorrow night. Right?
This is a pleasure. I do. I was flattered to be part of this program. Good job, guys.
Keith, thank you for really great to hang out with you, meet you. Really love what you're doing.
You too. Thank you, guys. Again,
and hey, maybe we could do a meetup in Corolla or Duck in the next.
You don't have to ask me twice.
All right, I love this,
and I'm invited. So, it's okay. I need to hear it.
Yes, you are. You can.
All right. Well, if you're listening and you want to know how healthy your business is, go to businessonpurpose.com/healthy. It'll take you 7 minutes. And if you want to talk to Dickie or I, someone did take us up on that. Someone took us up on something and we're talking to them and their life is improved because of it, Lord willing. So anyways, if y'all want businessonpurpose.com to get our info, thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
Peace.